We are born free.
And we will die free.
The time in between, though,
that's complicated.
In that time, governments, institutions, and our egos will limit our ability to find true freedom in this life. These are real stories of real people overcoming the odds, persevering in justice, and unlocking their potential. Welcome to Finding Freedom. Here's your host, John Odermatt.
Hey, what is up, everybody? My gosh. Streaming to you live on a Sunday night, which is a little bit out of the ordinary. This will air, of course, on Monday morning to all of the podcast listeners, but changed my plans. Did not plan on doing a show and streaming it live on Sunday night, but of course, with the events that occurred on Saturday with the attempted assassination on President Trump, I wanted to give my thoughts, and I also wanted to bring on a friend of mine who is a Trump supporter, who's been in this media game, this alternative new media space, longer than pretty much anyone I know. So without any further delay, let's bring on Brian Engelman. And Brian is the founder of the New American Media. Honestly, he gave me, even before Lions of Liberty, I think he gave me my first opportunity to go on a radio show and talk to the interwebs. So, Brian, it's great to have you here. I wish it was under more rosy circumstances, but it is what it is.
Let me
Welcome
say this.
To Finding
Thank
Freedom,
you so much, and that's just to hear you say it's been longer. You've known me longer than maybe anybody in the Liberty game. It's like, oh, wow. You look back. I remember Incubus did an interview after, it wasn't Morning View. I think it was the Make Yourself album. And it's like, hey, what's it like to be an overnight sensation? And they're like, overnight? We've been doing this for 15 years or whatever the number was. We've been doing this for 12 years or whatever the exact, it's an overnight sensation. A decade and a half in the making. But yeah, it's unfortunate we're meeting again under such unrosy circumstances. But let's just take 1 second and recalibrate if we can. This is a rosy circumstance. When President Trump turned his head ever so slightly, I don't recall if it was left or right. I'm trying to not superimpose it, but it turned just slightly at the most perfect opportunity, like the perfect time, 2 inches aside. If Trump doesn't turn his head there, we would know all 3 names of that shooter. The Lee Harvey Oswald. It would be, he would have got what he wanted. And we can just take a second for appreciation of thanks to whatever, the founding fathers in the Declaration of Independence, John, they had, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledged to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. So you're telling me President Trump, how old is President Trump? Is it 78?
I think he's 77, 78.
Is he pledging his life to this nation? Has he pledged his fortune? As he's been robbed in New York, he's been framed in one case after the other. They're trying to take him down. They're trying to ruin his brands. He doesn't need any of this stuff in his sacred honor. Nobody's been dragged through the mud more than President Trump. So the fact that we are not here banging our fists on the table, trying to understand what comes next, let's just be very grateful that there was some sort of divine providence, some sort of otherworldly protection.
Yeah, and
that's over top of him right now, and I'm so grateful for that right off the top.
I think that's incredibly important to state, because if he didn't turn his head and that bullet, went where it was going, he'll be dead. And we would have an entirely different situation playing out here. That would even
John. I might not be in the headspace to be talking to you right now. I don't think
I would be either. To be honest,
I might be so cognizant of not saying what I'm thinking that I might go mute for a month. I've been playing these scenarios out, and you go, okay, well, if that would have happened, and I don't even want to give that my energy. We dodged that bullet somehow. Biden can't avoid the stairs, but Trump can dodge bullets like it's in the Matrix. So I don't want to give it too much headspace thinking what would happen, but it's like, who carries the torch? If he goes to, he doesn't even have his vice president name. Who is his cabinet? And we're headed over to Milwaukee to be there on the scene.
That's gonna be wild, man.
We're gonna land on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Totally insane scene. So let's try our best to take a step back here at the beginning, because it's hard to even know where to start talking about this. And people can go and they can watch 20 other live streams where people are talking about this, and trying to bring I think a unique perspective is important, and not like we're gonna break the case open or something like that. I don't think I don't think that's what we're going to do here today. We're not experts in Secret Service protection. We're not experts in security. Of course, we could bring up some tweets from other people talking about those types of things, and we'll get into that. But before we go down that road, because we are going to go down that road, I do want to say, to touch on what you spoke to there, some divine interference that saved President Trump's life. And I am a Christian. I'm not sure if you are, Brian.
Yes, sir.
So I do believe that God is in control. We have a sovereign God, and all good things in this world come from God. And I think people get confused when, if I say something like, yes, God is in control, and yes, a good thing that happened, that bullet not hitting, President Trump's head, that is a good thing that came from God. Now, someone else was killed. There is evil in this world. Evil does happen. That's the nature of the world we live in. That's the nature of being born into sin. That's the nature of the battle of the flesh, and the nature of the principalities and satanic influences that we're fighting with. And it was interesting in church today, what the new series that started was on unity. And to be talking about unity right now as this is happening was just, I think, totally remarkable. To be viewing.
I'd be curious to find out if your pastor changed gears and went with an audible after yesterday afternoon. Did he have something else planned, or is this just in the cycle? I'm curious about that.
No, it was the Unity series was planned for months, I think. But of course,
okay. So you're in the middle. Of course,
he addressed it. You can't not address it at the beginning, and gave some thoughts on it, but didn't totally change things up. But it just kind of naturally played into it, because it's amazing that this country is so incredibly divided right now, intentionally divided, mostly coming from the left, mostly coming from the media, just this vitriol of calling people on the right, calling people of conservative leanings, of libertarian leanings, calling Donald Trump literally Hitler. Saying that if he gets elected, it's the end of the country. It's the end of democracy. And am I surprised that somebody tried to kill him? Of course. It's hard not to. You're going to be surprised. But in hindsight, as I look at it, yeah. I mean, they're leading people down this path. They're propagandizing their minds, telling them that somebody is trying to take over the country. So what do you expect? What are your thoughts on that?
Lots of thoughts. There are so many places to begin. Can you pull up the screen that I have shared over here? You're mentioning about the rhetoric, and who's really behind the scenes, the puppet masters. Let me just call your attention to this one real quick. To your listeners, if you're not following the New American Media, we're on X at American_media_, and we shared this from DC Drano saying, y'all remember when Alex Soros posted $47 in a bullet hole? There's a 20, a 10, a 5, another 10, and 2 ones. Alex Soros says last year the crime and inflation crisis largely evaporated. So did the leading theories about what had caused them. Here's a bullet hole. Here's 47. This was from January 2024. How thinly veiled a threat could you possibly have? This is from Alex Soros, the money man,
Wow.
now that George Soros is melting into the ground where he belongs. What's this post? The left, the deep state, the CIA or the FBI, they missed. And that's the moment where Trump raises his hand defiantly, yelling, "Fight, fight, fight." And here's James Carville, another one. These are all on our X feed. But this is James Carville saying that Joe Biden surrogates should do the wet work against Trump. The wet work against Trump. And if you know what that is,
what does wet work mean? I've never heard that term before. Is that something I should know?
Yeah, you should. It's what happens when you take somebody out. You can pull that off the screen now. I could play all the clips, but I want you to steer your show. I'm just so jazzed about that. I'm just like amped up, and that was kind of directly related to what you're saying about unity. There is no damn unity. The Democrats have declared war on America. But wet work is a term when the deep state eliminates somebody. Maybe it's because of all the blood that's spilled. It's the wet work that needs to be done. It's the scene toward the end of Wag the Dog when Dustin Hoffman's saying, "I want the credit. I want the credit." And De Niro looks at his Secret Service guy, gives him kind of the nod, and he walks him into the limousine at the end of the movie, and cut to the next scene. Tragedy out of Hollywood today, where esteemed producer such and such was found unresponsive, what appears to be a heart attack. They took him out right there because he wanted the credit, and they were trying to work behind the scenes to keep the president elected. If you don't remember Wag the Dog, watch Wag the Dog. Yeah. But yeah, wet work is referred to as taking somebody out, removing them from the scene. And probably and
of course, if you ask James Carville about it, "Oh, you said this," he would say, "Oh, I just mean that, figuratively." He wasn't, that's what he would say. Yeah. But the point is, the rhetoric coming from Democrats could easily be interpreted by a lunatic as, "We need to kill this guy." So that's
absolutely that is the state of the situation in America in 2024. You're talking about your church. It reminded me of something. Are you familiar with the parable of the drowning man by chance? The parable of the drowning man.
It's not ringing a bell, but I probably know it if you start with it.
Well, let me roll through it here. It's a short story, often told as a joke, most often about a devoutly Christian man, frequently a minister. He's stranded on a desert island, boat capsizes, whatever, washes up. And he says, "God, help me. God, I've done everything in my life to be, to walk the walk, and I'm stuck. Lord, I need you to deliver me from these treacherous circumstances and deliver me to salvation." And so first they send a boat, and the guy says, "Oh, hey, are you in?" He goes, "Nope, I'm fine. God's going to help me. God's going to help me." "Are you sure?" "Yes, God's going to help me. He's helped me my whole life." And another hour passes, another boat comes by. He's like, "Come on, God, I need you to help me." Another boat comes by. He's like, "Nope, I'm fine." And then finally a helicopter comes by, and he passes off. He's like, "Nope, God's going to help me." He ends up at the pearly gates. It's like, "What the heck? I've done everything in my life to ask for help, and you let me die there." He's like, "I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. What more do you want me to do?" So we look to President Trump as like, "Oh, thank God he's fighting for us. Isn't it so great that he's up there?" Come on, what are we doing? Are we just sitting back looking and go, "Well, I hope God fixes this Trump thing. Well, I hope God works it out with the deep state." It's like, no, we need to do the work. We need to actually move our feet onto the boat. We need to participate in the process. We're not bystanders here. If you sit back, what did Plato say? Indifference to public affairs gives a sanction to being ruled by inferior men. So to everybody on the sidelines, pick a side boldly, and stand up to the bullies that are trying to kind of threaten you into silence, risking your job, your reputation. "Well, you can't say this. You can't support them, or I'm going to get you canceled. I'll get you fired." You know what? It's enough. We've been backed into a corner, and we've been quiet for too long. I think we need to do some of the hard work of getting ourselves off of the island and partnering up with whatever divine providence has got us to the point now where we at least have a chance. This is maybe our last window of opportunity. It's the singularity of artificial intelligence and robots and the security state. I mean, we're in that last final window of a position where humanity can fight for freedom. because we're about to lose it if we let the Obama, Pelosi, Schumer, deep state, the Biden crime syndicate that just tried to take out Trump. Oh, are you saying they were directly behind it and they funded and financed the guy? No. I'm saying that whoever warped the brain of that 20-year-old demon enough to think that he needed to go take a pot shot at our president, they're causing brain damage, and the education and media system needs to change, and we all need to stand up and say something about it. Pick a side, get off the fence.
I'm glad you said that. And, I'm not someone who normally allows myself to get emotional, emotionally invested in a politician outside of Ron Paul. I will openly admit that I really was emotionally invested in that Ron Paul movement. I thought at that time, naively, I thought he could get elected and really change the world and end the Fed, and life would be great and we'd all be dancing around and singing Kumbaya. I didn't literally think that, but I thought he could, make life a little better for everyone by changing the politics of it. Now I know how things work with corporations largely controlling our politicians, that really you're not going to get massive scale change like that. But I will say this. When I watched that video the first time, and so what happened was we were driving back from Penn State, my wife and I and my daughter, we were up there for the arts festival. My wife and I met there at the arts festival in State College 15 years ago. So we go back every year, spend 2 or 3 days there. So we just done that. We were driving back. My wife was driving. I took a nap for like 5 minutes, woke up, look at my phone, look at Twitter, and see, oh my God, President Trump's been shot. And this is like it had just happened. And immediately there's videos up, almost immediately. And the first time I saw that video of after he goes down, the Secret Service comes around him and he puts up his fist and says, fight, fight, fight. To say that and respond like that after being shot at, clipped in the ear, that's not showman. That's not acting. That's real. I mean, literally, when the bullets are flying and you respond like that, that is an element of character that is just in you. That's not something you're doing for show. And when I saw him do that, when I saw that video, that first reaction I had, just like you were talking about there, Brian, the first reaction I had was, it's time to fight. Not fight in a violent way, but it is time to stand our ground and stop getting pushed around with these DEI initiatives. Stop getting pushed around with, the liberals and progressive controlling public schools, controlling what our kids are being taught.
The education system is damaging the brains of these humans.
Yeah, it's time to fight.
Absolute brain damage.
Exactly. Now or never.
And by the way, if it's all right, if you can see the screen I have pulled up here, can we watch this unedited sequence? This is the most powerful 2 minutes and 40 seconds you might ever see in your life. This is exactly the scene.
We'll be able to tell pretty quickly if the volume's working. If it's not, I'll tell you a quick fix. But yeah, let's if you want to expand the screen, you can make it a little bigger, and we'll watch this.
Let's see if we can hear it. Did you get that?
I did not hear that.
Okay, what you said, a quick fix. I refreshed the page.
So close. Whoops. So yeah, close that screen out.
Okay.
Actually, do this. Just send me the link. Send me that link. Send me the link in the chat, and I will just pull that up.
There you go.
In the meantime,
I'm not used to. I don't know how to be on someone else's show and not want to just play videos. I apologize, but I'm very interactive this way, and I love, for all the problems we have in 2024. We're all radio station, television station managers right now. We're all the engineers, the producers, the on-air talent. We're the ones running the soundboards. We're taking the calls. We're running the media, the marketing. What a time to be alive.
It's wild.
I know we get hung up on the negatives sometimes, but once again, just like how we started today's show, let's be thankful and grateful that President Trump survived. Deepest condolences to the family of the departed who got shot behind him, and I don't know the one who was injured, but I know I saw the GoFundMe's already past 2.5 million, but that was hours ago. We could be past 3 million now. It's not like money can replace a life, but that guy died jumping on his family to protect them. And we all have to be willing to jump on that grenade to protect our loved ones right now. We have to be prepared to jump on whatever is happening to protect our nation, because the enemies are inside the gates. How many millions of illegal alien invaders have been stationed as sleeper cells across the country? Will the power go off like that with an electromagnetic pulse or some sort of cyber attack? And when the grid is down, all of the liberty-minded people, you're on a list. Everybody knows, all of the intelligence agencies, they know if you lean left or right based on the content you share and the stuff that you like and the comments you post. When those sleeper cells are activated, if that power grid goes off, you better be ready, because the target is on your back next. The biggest, best line that Trump's ever had is, they're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be in the way. But I need everyone to just kind of pause for a second and realize that as quick as that shot whizzed past him, if you didn't see that Associated Press picture, it's probably on our Twitter feed. There is a photograph of the bullet whizzing past his ear. As the shot was taken, you see it streaking across the screen. So, yeah, we all need to participate. But look, if you can pull that video up, I'll shut up for that 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Watch it in full display, because it kind of dawned on me what happened. We did a special show last night with Mike Barra, Blake Wally, a whole bunch of guys, a 5-person roundtable, and I've just been kind of, it's been surreal, but it hit me when I watched this unedited 2 minute 30-second video or 40-second video, and I just wept, like right there in the kitchen.
Yeah. I mean, and you probably, we're doing a live stream talking about this assassination attempt, calling it what it was, an assassination attempt, all before CNN or the New York Times would even admit that it was an assassination attempt. Just amazing, incredible times we live in, where you can have the news tracked to the second on Twitter accurately and corrected now with community notes. If something is wrong, it's corrected very rapidly. And you still have your mainstream media, your corporate press that tries to push back against it, but they can't.
They can't anymore. And that's why I don't know how much longer they're going to let us have the internet, because it's too damn powerful. And this stuff hits me even closer than just watching it from afar as someone who's been doing the Agree to Disagree shows for more than 13 years now with the New American Media. Like, I was just in the Bronx and I took the New American Media out there. We ended up doing segments with Jack Posobiec. They used, I was on a segment with Real America's Voice after Posobiec, and then they used 3 of our clips on the Bannon show. This was right before Trump was found guilty. This was right before Bannon was arrested. We were there in the Bronx, and I vividly recall as the Secret Service had their 2 twin spires of tents set up, and everybody was being filtered through. They were all being searched. I was looking out at the park at the groups of people clustered by the trees, saying, who's close enough to take a pot shot? I'm looking for people that look out of place. You started the show off saying we're not experts, but I do pay attention to these things. Yeah. In the Bronx, that's what I was looking for, because when I was in college, and we will get to that video, but I got to get this sidebar in. I went to school at Bowling Green, and I was a bartender at a place that was called Uptown Downtown. So it was the corner building in like a 150-year-old city with brick buildings. Think of a Ohio, Pennsylvania style college town. So it's got downtown, it's got uptown, and then it's got another 3rd floor up there. And that's how everything was. It was 3-story or 4-story brick buildings all the way down. John Kerry came to speak when I was there, and I worked bartending at this place. They came in 2 months beforehand. They shut the place down. They went to every window. They went to every ladder. They went to every fire escape. They went to the roof. They mapped every component of it out. They blacked out the windows. They blacked out that they drilled it. They sealed off windows so they couldn't be reopened. They had that whole place on lockdown. Don't tell me somebody just slipped through the grid. Somebody just, whoop, I didn't see that coming. No,
Well,
there should have been a Secret Service member at the top of that roof, like they were in Bowling Green, at the top of every one of those buildings, triangulating and making sure nothing was out of the ordinary. So
we're gonna talk about that,
point.
and
Yeah,
I
we'll get
think
to that point in
I
one
have
second.
a theory on it, but let's play this video.
Well, one more final
let's-
point to bookend this. Right after the Bronx, we went over to the Libertarian Convention. And we were there in the room when Trump gave his speech to the rowdiest crowd you will ever see, the slightly embarrassing crowd of the Libertarian Convention who booed him unmercifully like a bunch of 7th graders. Sorry, you guys acted like clowns. But anyway, we were kicked out of that room hours in advance so all of Secret Service could do an entire sweep of the place. Then we were allowed back in after yet another screen. So I'm viewing this whole scenario going, there's no way this just accidentally happened. This was intentionally allowed to happen. Something was designed to make this happen. So I'm trying to unpack exactly what it was, but I've been through this in several different circumstances and within a month recently with Trump in 2 different places. And it's just like, how could the Secret Service have done this? It was intentional. This was not a mistake. They should arrest the head of the Secret Service right now and send him to Gitmo and start interrogating. You can figure out answers later. This is not, oh, I can't believe there was a lapse in our coverage. Bullshit. You're arrested, you're in Gitmo, and we're talking to you right now. But we see what happened and who overtook our country in 2020. So it's kind of like who's going to police the police, right? Anyway, I have a lot of thoughts on this.
I do have more to add there, but I want to get to this video. So let's play it. For those who haven't seen it, see it for the first time. For those who have seen it, you'll see it again.
And pause it wherever you feel fit.
The chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Grabs his ear instantly after the second shot. Return fire. Zooming out. Screaming now. But everybody on the top left, they're looking.
Did you hear that last shot? I've heard, I know this is true,
Yes.
that last shot that was separated by like almost 10 seconds. I've heard that was the shot that killed the gunman on the roof. I don't know if that's true or not.
Wow.
That's what I heard.
If they
recently.
waited that long to get that shot off, they all need to be at Gitmo right now, and we can sort the rest out later. I find it hard to believe in the midst of that chaos, nobody, because there's that other angle where it shows what appears to be above President Trump from behind, aiming at where the person is. And when the shots rang out, that person jumped and got away from their shield. It was like they were going to take out the shooter, but they had to let the shooter get enough shots in first. That was what my quick reaction was to that video. But let's just talk about the one in front of us. So this is right after the shot. He grabs his ear, drops down. It's chaos. They're screaming. 10 seconds, one more shot. That could have been the kill shot on the shooter. Let's let this continue. Cameramen taking pictures. Press. He's saying, "When we're ready, on you." You got police up on the stage, flanking it. There he is. Trump appears to be spitting. He's being shielded. Trump's up.
And did you hear him say, "Get my shoes"?
I think he says that right. I think he says that right now. If you let it play, did he just say it?
He just said it. He just said it.
If you could rewind it, yeah, I was concerned in the moment because I saw blood on his head, and it's like the adrenaline you see sometimes. You hear stories of you shoot a crackhead 6 times, and they will beat a person to death because they're running on adrenaline. So I was concerned that he took a shot into the brain, and he's talking about his shoes, and he could talk about a hippopotamus and TGI Fridays.
At this point in time, I'm sure he doesn't know. He doesn't know if what happened. He just knows there's blood coming from his head. I don't think there's any way he could know. So Yeah, I'm sure he's very disoriented as well. So
yeah, so I'm
let's,
wondering, like, did he get knocked out of his shoes, or was it like, was he concussed, or I'm curious, like, what was with the shoes? Can someone ask him?
I think I would guess he was wearing loafers, and in the chaos they fell
Got
off.
knocked
I
off.
mean,
Yeah.
that's what I would guess. But
So
here,
he's up. He's
they'll
up
say it again
now.
right here when I start this. You'll hear him say
Okay.
something about his shoes.
Get my shoes.
Yeah.
And they're putting their arms are blocked, and the crowd's clear. There's the first.
It's a fight.
Bleeding from his head. Pissed up. Pounding his fist. Chance of the USA. Pause it real quick, John. What you're about to hear is you're going to hear the crowd then. If you're not waiting for it, I don't want you to miss it, but you will hear. So they're chanting USA, USA after the cheers. Then they're going to turn on the media pit and start screaming at the media saying, you did this. Let it keep playing. Trump fist raised. Here's the screaming.
Look, I just want to look at these female Secret Service officers here. Let's just go back. Just look how disorganized this looks. Watch these couple female Secret Service officers just seem very confused.
She couldn't reholster her weapon like that. But I'm fairly certain they were screaming at the media at that point. They, at least according to one of the reports I was reading, all of that yelling around that moment as Trump went in the motorcade and again threw his fist up. And the male Secret Service, who are somewhere near 6'6", enough to actually physically try to protect him, unlike 5'3", what's her face. I mean, man, could you? He's still throwing his fist up, and those poor Secret Service are like, "Get the hell inside the vehicle! What are you doing?" Like, they're get in. Don't enough with the photo ops. Get in the damn car. So, God, I could only imagine what was going through their heads. But yeah, it looked disorganized. It looked chaotic. And if you're going to be assigned to Trump's Secret Service detail, you need to be 6'7", 6'8". The guy is massive.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it's to protect him. But if those reports that I was reading was accurate, that crowd could have torn the media limb from limb, because everybody knows what the media and what academia has been doing in conjunction with the deep state Democrats, the same deep state Democrats that were involved with taking out Kennedy. Like this is a really big problem. I don't know if this nut job shooter was employed by whatever, but his brain was damaged. I don't know if you've seen the video of him screeching and screaming on campus or not. But as we unpack this, it's like this was a clearly demented individual who may or may not have also appeared in a BlackRock commercial as well. So
let me say this about the shooter. I'm not even going to say his name, but
agreed.
This is how, I mean, this guy lived in the town next to me, Bethel Park, PA. I'm in Upper St. Clair, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Literally 10 minutes away. Shooting took place in Butler, Pennsylvania, which is about 35 minutes from my house. It's totally insane. And it just makes it that much more real because I know this area. I know how people are in this area. Sure, there's lots of liberals, lots of progressives like there are in the suburbs around most cities or all cities, really. But you just don't think you're going to have a lunatic like that come from the town right next to you to try to assassinate the president of the United States. Just totally
2
totally
inches,
nuts.
2 inches away from knowing that guy's full 3 names and never being unable to unlearn that fact. 2 inches away. That's how close we were.
So I wanna pull up something here. I don't know if you've seen this. So we were talking a little bit about
Yes.
the layout here. And if you're listening to the podcast version, that's fine. But you can always, flip over to YouTube. Right now we're at about the 35:20 mark. If you want to jump into the video here. So this is a layout of the rally. You can see where it says Trump on the map. That's where Trump was speaking. You can see where the snipers were on the roof behind Trump. And you can see where the shooter was, which is off to the right of.
Do they want us to believe? They want us to believe that there were no counter snipers on that roof. That was left just vacant.
It's not that they want us to believe that. That's a fact. That there were no counter snipers on that roof. That roof was not secured. I mean, what other possibility is there? Like, I don't know. How do you not secure a roof that is 150 yards?
I think it was longer. I was hearing it was a significant distance, but clearly close enough to take out, unfortunately, that hero behind who jumped on to save his daughter and wife, I believe, lost his life in the process. John, it is literally unbelievable that the Secret Service would have made a whoopsie and not had snipers on that roof with a direct line of sight to the president. There's no oopsie there. This is intentional. This was exactly as intended by somebody. Arrest the leader of the Secret Service and send them to Gitmo right now.
Let me say this, Brian. Like we talked about, I think we said this before we went live. Maybe it was Doran. I can't remember. Everything blurs together.
I know.
But there's supposed to be a 72-hour rule, right, with stuff like this, where you don't talk about it. You let facts come out.
Ringo. I'm trying.
But we can't do that, and we're not even going to try to do that. So, with that being said, a day from now, 2 days from now, we could know a lot more. I'm sure we will know a lot more.
Yeah.
But of course, with this government, especially with the Biden administration and the way things are, there's probably stuff that's going to be hidden, and there's things that we might never know. So they could be deleting text messages and emails right now, wiping their servers. Who the hell knows what they're doing? But one thing, I think it was Dan Bongino. It might not have been him. Might be mixing up my things I watched in the past day or so. Right. But he's a former Secret Service agent, right?
Yeah.
So this is his lane. He knows it pretty well. And he pointed out that Donald Trump has not had the full package of Secret Service support. That's a known fact. It was denied, as Secret Service support protection was denied to RFK Jr. as well. And it's, according to Bongino, it's unheard of that essentially we have two incumbent presidents running, which is kind of a rare situation. Of course, Trump's not technically an incumbent, but he pretty much is, since it's so close to his previous term. And to have two incumbents and one of them not have a full package of Secret Service protection is totally insane. So the theory that I heard was that the resources are just so low that they're not able to secure a full perimeter like they would, like you talked about that bar and restaurant that you worked at in college in Bowling Green, where they were able to come in days in advance or months in advance and do the research and lock it down. Now they don't have the resources to do that. And is Trump aware that he's putting himself at that much more of a risk? I would think so.
Well, I always heard that Trump had his own security and that they ran point through his team, that they worked in conjunction with Secret Service, but he had his own private staff. And it was his own private staff that got him through 3, 4, or 5 other previous attempts. On the show yesterday, I don't know if you know Mike Barra from Ancient Aliens and stuff, but we kind of co-did a show. And he was saying that there were, I think he said 4 other attempts on President Trump's life. But yeah, the fact that an incumbent president who's trying to defeat, the sitting president who's trying to defeat someone has the authority to not give them the protection? Why is that a presidential call? Why isn't that just a thing? And as a former president, you have a different set of rules anyway. You don't need to ask for anything. You're a former president, especially when you're still running for president and you're up by 15 points anywhere that's doing honest reporting, honest polling.
Yeah, I did want to point out, I forgot one more thing on this. So the person who posted this, who is, I'm not going to read this whole, well, yeah, it's someone, I don't want to out their name on Facebook because I don't have their permission, but the person who posted this said that what they thought, or maybe they'd heard, was that this tree could have been an obstacle in line of sight to be able to see the shooter over here, which maybe that's the case. But if that's the case, that just proves more of the incompetence and ineptitude of this Secret Service, of the Secret Service team. And like you've said many times, and I fully agree with you, the Secret Service director should resign immediately. There should be a full investigation, and she should be locked up because this is insane. But she is or was a DEI hire. This is someone who, her past qualifications, and Elon Musk posted about this yesterday, her past qualifications are, she was like a risk management director at PepsiCo. So she used to guard guard the Cheez-Its, and she went from that to leading the security of, what is it, several thousand agents. Just
that
totally
sounds
nuts.
that sounds like Pete Buttigieg. What was he? He was Mayor Pete in South Bend, Indiana, I think. And it's like, oh, that's great. You were mayor of a little sleepy college town. Cool. Can you oversee all of our transportation, including our vital port infrastructure, all of the planes flying as potential projectiles in the skies at all hours of the day, and all of the railroads separating Ohio and Pennsylvania, where trains will dismount and then we'll make a insane decision to light it all on fire instead of clean it up? Yeah, that's a DEI hire. That's didn't earn it. DEI in all of its forms. It's like, well, I don't know if you got qualifications, but opens up the box of 64 crayons. Well, you're periwinkle blue. You fulfill my periwinkle blue quota. You could go over here. You did it, Joe. You answered all the questions. You put all of the DEI hires in all of the little categories, including the people in the military wearing dresses. You're so good, Joe. You did it. You did it, Joe.
You did it, Joey. You did it.
You answered all the questions and put all the DEI hires in all the vital locations. You did it, Joe. You did it.
Oh, God.
I have this video here if you can pull it up. This is maybe one of the most stunning things.
This is a
you will
extremely
ever
important
see.
Video. If you watch one thing, this is what you want to. Hopefully, is the volume going to work on this though?
Oh shoot! Is it going to? Well, let's find out. If not,
someone who was
I can hear it.
You can hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Here we go.
Nope, but you were just asked. Tell us what you saw. So we had a party here all day. You can see behind us at the Brinkles Farm and Greenhouse here. We had a party, and we all decided, hey, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up.
I just lost the audio there.
Hold on.
I think it muted out in the corner.
It snapped. I didn't press it, but here, let's rewind it and unmute it. Yeah, that's weird. It snapped into mute.
We decided, hey, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field, stand by the trees up there under the shade, and listen to the rally. Right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, but we noticed the guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, and, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2 or 3 minutes.
2 or 3 minutes, John. 2 or 3 minutes he's pointing. He's alerting everybody in a position of security around what's going on. He's saying 2 or 3 minutes. Now, maybe it's 2 or 3 seconds, 20, 30 seconds. Time warps in these moments. But he's saying it was 2 or 3. He's continuing to point it out. There's something that you call on a special teams kick, punt return, or punt return really is the best one. When you're catching the punt in the NFL or any game of football, really, if the ball hits the ground, you yell, fire, fire, fire. And when you hear it, everybody has to yell fire so you can turn around and look for the ball that's bouncing that might hit you in the back of the leg and lead to a turnover. You yell fire. If they were being told there's a gunman, the guy's got a gun, he's on the roof, he's got a rifle, someone needs to call fire. And they pop Trump down, and this never happens. Maybe other people are injured, but Trump is never in that position. If he was yelling this for 2-3 minutes, John, 2-3 minutes, and nobody yelled fire to get him down immediately.
Yeah, how do you not? It's just remarkable that you could have a security operation where, he's saying 2-3 minutes. If it's 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and someone points out a gunman with a rifle on a roof,
fire,
that's pretty easy for everyone to see.
Fire.
It's just crazy. I don't know what's going to come from this investigation. I don't trust the FBI. I don't trust the CIA. Don't trust anyone doing this investigation. So I have no faith in it at all whatsoever. But at some point, hopefully we learn what the hell happened here.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. But the best thing we have right now is these on the field or in the field, on the scene reports. Let me just play another couple seconds here with this guy, because like you said, if there's one video you watch this here, to kind of get a feeling for how it happened.
Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots rang out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here?
Yes.
I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh, yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful, because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
Anyway, he has another 2 minutes worth watching, but I'll keep it moving for you.
Yeah. So pull this off, and so this it's got a comment on our YouTube here. Terrible reporter, but that guy's genuine. 100%. And this guy is prototypical 100% Pittsburgh Yinzer. I mean, if you're from this area, it's exactly what I mean.
Well, what do you think he's got inside that koozie? Is that a Yingling?
Exactly. He's drinking a beer as he does the interview. I think it's interesting.
A Yingling, maybe a Rolling Rock can.
Probably. Probably a Yingling. But this is the BBC. So this is a foreign reporter who finds this guy and interviews him. Where is the domestic media? Where is the local media? Why is the BBC the one who finds the best guy to interview who's an eyewitness to this? That is how bad the journalism, how bad the media, the corporate press, whatever you want to call it, in this country has become.
Yeah. That's why it was always so good watching foreign coverage of stuff, whether it's the Telegraph or RT. Anything that's kind of coming from an outside source, they can be pretty hypercritical of what's happening in the United States in a way that, trust me, NBC, the CIA running NBC, you think they're going to give you any legitimate information? No, I don't think so, John. Not
so. Speaking of the CIA, let's get into we've talked a little bit about what we kind of think happened here, and bringing that 72-hour rule into effect. We don't know what happened. When we find out what happened, who knows? Um, you know, I've
We
seen
know there
some.
was an assassination attempt, and we're
Yeah,
trying to unpack it. Like there's no, you guys are conspiracy theorists. Oh,
I've
you mean
seen
two or
some.
more people were involved in this? Yeah, every sniper usually has a spotter. I don't know what the scenario was today, but yes, we're starting from the assumption two or more people were involved here. Maybe
Yeah.
not, but we'll work our way out of that one.
And I did see a Reddit post, so I don't know how credible that is. Apparently, from one of the snipers saying that they had the shooter in a target before he shot and was told not to take the shot. Who knows if that's true or not? I have no idea. It's on the internet though, so I shared it with you. But
I saw that
there's
too and shared it in certain
Yeah.
places. I don't share everything in every place, which is why it's so important that maybe you're following us on Telegram and Truth
Yeah.
and Rumble and YouTube, because like we don't put everything on Facebook or YouTube that's going to get us zapped. But like some of the alternate channels, permission to speak freely, Elon. Yeah, post away on X. Got it, pal. Back to it
Yeah.
being the normal site it used to be. So anyway, please continue. But yeah, I saw that too, and
Yeah, so I mean, kind of trying to process what happened here. I've seen some libertarians who have some pretty irrational opinions, thinking that
No.
somehow this was a setup by Donald Trump somehow to. I don't know. I don't know how maybe you set it up so a bullet grazes your ear so you look cooler and are able to pump your fist. Like what are you smoking that you think that's even possible? That's not real. That's not an option. That didn't happen. Sorry, didn't happen.
That's an absurd.
Somebody's dead. Come on. Someone's dead. Somebody lost their life. Two people were critically injured. They might die. This was not a setup by the Trump campaign as a political event to gain him positive exposure. That's insane, and anyone who thinks that is insane.
Agreed. And the other thing they're saying, John, maybe you can help me validate this, confirm this. The thing that I have some people in my Facebook groups, just search TNAM and you can find a lot of them. They're private, whatever, but join. One of the guys who comes in, but he always wants to engage and pretends that he's Republican, but he's supporting Biden. It's like, okay, you're one of my handlers. I get it. You're in my Facebook realm. I got others when we restream. We have the regular cast of character sock puppet accounts that show up to give us grief. But what they're reporting is that this is a registered Republican. See, it's a registered Republican that's so just irate that this guy is the standard bearer of that party on the eve of the Milwaukee convention. Don't you see? You got to go ditch Donald Trump and go to Ron DeSantis. Get some Nikki Haley action in there. My understanding is that Pennsylvania is one of those places where the people who hate Trump on the left, they're able to register as the other party to like say vote for Nikki Haley.
Yeah, it's not an open primary. So if you want to vote against Donald Trump, you can't be a Democrat and vote in the Republican primary. You have to change your party affiliation to be Republican to vote in the
and
primary.
Vote for Nikki Haley because you're trying to just whatever can take Trump out the quickest. And if Haley can't do it, I'm going to get up there with an AR-15. This little weird.
Yeah, I think that's probably what happened here. This is the shooter. He was young. I think maybe 20 or something. I really haven't read too much about him because I don't want to waste my time looking into him. But this election was really the first time he could vote. So I would guess that maybe he did vote in the primary. I don't know. Maybe that'll come out. But likely that's probably what happened is he registered as a Republican in order to vote against Donald Trump. He had a donation in his past to some super PAC to Act Blue, which supports Democrat voter whatever. But yeah, do you have something else you want to share here? We are running low on time, but I don't want to just cut it here. If you have something else you want to get into.
I mean, yeah. If you want to pull this up real quick, I'll share the things that I'm seeing with the caveat of I'm trying to unpack if there's any validity to this. I'm not sharing this to endorse it. I'm saying I saw this and let me see if I can unpack it. By the way, one last point. Remember, this is on the heels of the decision from the Supreme Court saying that Trump had some immunity. And then the reaction to that was, oh, so there's immunity when you're in the office? Well, that means Biden should assassinate Trump. You remember hearing that, John? Just just
from
a week or two ago, 3
crazy
weeks
people.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, from crazy people. So anyway, I found this video, and it says BlackRock here. This guy has a same super strange flat incel face here. I don't know if that's the right person, but they're saying apparently the shooter, I'm not sharing his name, was in a BlackRock video. How weird is that?
I will say this, though. I mean, with videos today, you can't trust pictures. You can't trust videos with AI. I don't trust anything I see, really. So who knows? But it's possible. Anything's possible.
No, you know what? And I think that's very fair. And we should all be discerning in this moment. But yeah, when we have to throw the 72-hour window away because we're trying to unpack this, I think, everybody needs to be a savvy consumer of the information you're finding. But the other one was this kid allegedly on campus. It was right next to it. I'm trying to scroll and find it here. He was on a campus event screaming about slitting the throats of Republicans, shrieking out of his mind. Right here. Let me play this.
I haven't
20
seen
seconds.
this. Okay.
Here.
I'm not getting volume on it.
Oh, you're not getting volume on it?
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, this is outside of some event at a table. I don't know who he's screaming at, if that's TPUSA or if it's, who knows, it could be the Libertarians. But he's saying to slash the throat of all Republicans and suck my effing balls and this and that. So if that's the same person, this is a highly deranged individual who suffered immense brain damage from his teachers and from his media. The sources have lied and said that Trump called Nazis fine people and told you to inject bleach. It's literally Hitler. You got to take him out. You got to take him out.
Let's not forget the third leg on that stool, which is oftentimes the case in these crazed lunatics who go on shooting sprees. Pharmaceuticals. What pharmaceuticals is this guy on? That's the question that is not asked by anyone. And in this day and age, most of the time they're on something. And they have a side effect for violent behavior, suicidal behavior.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what it is. I mean,
selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. The track record of the SSRIs is a mile long, and you can do a deep dive into that. Yeah, let's see if he was being seen by a shrink, and let's try to find out if there was any influence put in, because when you got someone who's that unstable, you can really plant some thoughts. I'm not saying it happened, but that is a very susceptible person for any sort of control, MK Ultra style. It's possible. It's not like our services haven't spent an immense fortune learning how to manipulate the brains of humanity. That's widely known.
Truth, yeah.
Was this a case? I don't know. But yeah, I agree. Let's not say his name. Let's not do much more today than think how blessed we are to avoid the potential calamity that could have been. That sets me into a better mood, but it's activated my fight or flight because the Democrats declared war on America yesterday. I don't know that this was a Democrat operative. I don't know that he was paid by the Democrats. It's their rhetoric. It's what they've been pushing for 9 years now, trying to frame Trump and trying to take him out. That's behind this. It's that mind virus behind it. And I'm done with the Democrats. I'm not playing nice. I'm not going to bite my lip a single second longer. These people are out of control. They're out of their minds. They need to be taken out of their positions in the biggest red wave possible. And that party needs to be broken and cast into 1,000 pieces and strewn across the far corners of this globe. They are nothing but a cancer to this country and this world, as you see from all the outbreaks of war. They don't give a damn about hundreds of thousands dead in Ukraine, as long as he can steal some energy from Burisma through my son Hunter. Is this real life, John? It's hard to fathom, but we've been shaken. But Trump gets up and says, fight, fight, fight. So are we going to, figuratively, politically, peacefully? Yes. Okay. Literally, peacefully. Okay.
Well, let's talk about, we talk about where we go from here. Personally, individually, it's time for us to fight on that level. But let's look at the larger, as a last exercise here before we end the show. As we look at the election here, the next few months, it's been interesting to watch on Twitter, on X, Some people put polls up. Does this change who you're going to vote for in November? I've seen some interesting names of some pretty anti-Trump people say that they are now voting for Donald Trump because of this. The way I phrased it before this, I was a reluctant Trump voter. No other option that was appealing.
Wow.
But I was going to vote for Trump. Now I'm willing to take a van full of people with me to vote for Donald Trump. That's where I'm at. So
That's awesome, John.
what have you seen? What kind of effect do you think this will have?
You and my other Lions of Liberty buddies, I have an affinity to you as my cat walks across my screen here, as cats often do in the middle of podcasts. I love when Nimbus makes an appearance, but I have an affinity to cats and lions. But yeah, the purity test between my Lions of Liberty brother and all, my brothers over there, you guys, that purity test is impossible. So to hear it was a reluctant, I wish I had another path, and still kind of like, yeah, well, he is kind of uncouth, and, bump stocks and red flag laws. It's like, yes. Grant, you will get no pushback from me on some of the worst things he did in those 4 years. But once you get past bump stock, red flag, and also he got his ass kicked on a lot of these things, and he's come around on some of these policies, by the way.
It wasn't a good first term. Lots of missed opportunities. The COVID shot. I've said it all. Yeah, I'm not a fan of what Trump did in his first term. Overall, some of it very good, a lot of it not so good. But yeah, here we are today. My view has totally shifted on it. I hope that Trump has shifted as well, especially considering what just happened.
I think he has. And by the way, regarding the COVID shot, he left it voluntary. He's like, hey, hurry up and give me what you got. Here's the thing. You can take it if you want it. It's optional. That is we got to get the country open like Florida again. What you're doing in California is crazy. What you're doing in New York is crazy. We got to get the economy going again. I think some of his instincts were right, but I think Fauci needs to be indicted real soon as well. But that's a separate issue. So that being said, you being a very reluctant Trump hold your nose and cast the vote guy who you said now you'll take a van full of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there have been mile markers along this journey. Trump gets indicted. Trump gets indicted again. Trump on 72 counts. Trump found guilty in kangaroo court. All of these things. It really feels like I would walk through glass for that man. The photographs that came out of that assassination attempt, that 2 inches away from knowing all three names of that 20-year-old nut job. I'm glad I don't. But the amount of passion. Did you see the MMA people yesterday? Usually Saturday nights is a big MMA night. And Trump, I think he was planning on going to the MMA thing. I could be wrong about that, but I believe he was planning on leaving the rally and going down to the MMA. I mean, these MMA people are getting up, grabbing the mic. I heard they tried to take out my boy Trump. We got your back. Trump 2024. The whole crowd going bonkers. There is only one choice in this election. And you know what? Holy crap. Here's an idea. How about RFK Jr. suspends his campaign and says, I'm in on Trump. I'm asking for a position in his cabinet, maybe with FDA. But they took out my dad. They took out my uncle. They took a shot at my boy Trump. He's leading in the polls. If I can bring 1% over, I want them over, and I want to be a part of this because you don't take shots at my family or his. That is an opportunity on the table for RFK Jr. right now.
Did you see what his vice presidential, what's her name? I can't remember her name. Shanahan. What she posted, she essentially.
Sheridan or Shanahan? Sheridan?
I think it's Shannon. Whatever her name is. She posted something very much supportive of Donald Trump after the assassination attempt yesterday. It would not be the most shocking thing in the world if RFK Jr. did that. I wouldn't be surprised. I'll just say that, but I don't think it'll happen. I think it's very low probability. Shanahan. But yeah, Nicole
Shanahan. Look, I've seen some memes going past, and the stuff I'm seeing is like, if you thought I was pro-Trump before, you have no idea what you've just done. I am more MAGA now than ever. You know, you're seeing these types of, I will go Kool-Aid man through that brick wall. When that dude got shot and stood up and said, fight, 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 it's like, oh my God, this is a Newt Rockney moment. This is Woody Hayes.
Let me say this. Church this morning, talked about it earlier. Our drive to church is 10 minutes. In the past year, I've seen 0 vehicles with Trump flags on the way to church.
Oh.
Today, on the way to church, I saw 3. I mean,
yeah, it's time. And it's another reminder. I need to put my American flag up on the outside. I need to drill in through the brick facade and do that. But I got to figure out how to hang that flag upside down, because the New American media, we twisted our flag upside down because when a nation is in distress, you send out that message like we've been taken over, like flashing red lights, danger, danger. We are in distress right now. It's an SOS. And that is really where America is. There is no going back from this. There is no escalation. There is no appeasement. These people are absolute enemies of the state in the Democrat deep state apparatus, all of them. The Hillary Clintons, Barack Obamas, Joe Bidens, and I'm already against whoever they replace Biden with. That party shouldn't get a single vote from anybody. I don't care about abortion. I don't care about whatever your other pet issue.
They can't replace Biden now. At this point, they can't. They cannot do it. They're stuck with him. They
could take him paddleboarding and blame it on MAGA and declare MAGA domestic terrorists. Oh, look what happened as retribution for the attempt on Trump. Someone actually took Biden out, which solves all of the Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama problem. And now we get to say MAGA's domestic terrorists locked down the entire country, Civil War 2.0. That's in their bag of tricks, along with George Floyd 2.0, along with Pandemic 2.0, along with EMP shut the power grid down, along with how many millions of sleeper cells are situated across the country waiting for the green light. We are in for a real calamitous couple of months here. Everybody needs to keep their own personal head on a swivel, up your own personal security when you're out in the universe and when you're trying to sleep at night. And my God, I
think it's a great point talking about EMPs. I'm reading the book 1 Second After right now, which is a fictional book, but it's based on what the world would be like if there was a electromagnetic electromagnetic pulse. Is that what
electromagnetic pulse? And by the way, the foreword to that William Forstchen book was written by none other than Newt Gingrich, who I saw yesterday, barely able to contain his emotions. You could tell he had been crying. And he was on with Hannity. And he's like, I just watched my friend get shot. Newt Gingrich was the last time we had a balanced budget, 2 or 3 years in a row, back with Clinton in the 90s. Can you even think back to a balanced budget and Republicans and Democrats working together before DEI and all this ESG, Barack Hussein Obama, racial division stuff, before that took hold and rotted our country from the inside out? Just the name Newt Gingrich, but he wrote the foreword to that, and you're reading that right now. It's terrifying.
I'm reading it right now. It is terrifying. Make sure you have plenty of bottled water, jugs of water on hand. You want to have non-perishable food. You want to have a way to cook that food, and you want guns and ammo, and maybe cigarettes, because that might be how you trade.
So. Yeah, and alcohol. Anything that you can barter, silver coins. It's like it's tough to, hey man, you got change for a gold coin? It's like, well, how many thousands is that? You go, hey, can I get some food for a $15 silver coin? It's like, all right, I'll make you a sandwich. But it's instead of bottles of water, John, you need water filtration, a water filtration system. Give a man a fish, teach a man to fish. So, but it's all, they all play a role. But this is perhaps the best time to maybe take a week and really order a few extra things on Amazon. Get a portable power grid, just a little solar panel and something to keep the sump pump running. My power was off for 2 weeks. For 2 days when I came back from the Bronx. My power was off. The sump pump thing was blinking. I had it on a battery backup, but that was starting to wear down. All of the food in my fridge and freezer, it was right at that. I kept it closed. And they say if your ice cubes melt, you got to throw everything away. But none of my ice did. But some of the fruit got sucked. And I'm like, wait, can I still eat this? Should I not? What, am I going to throw away $1,000 worth of food? Because I got a freezer in the basement full of, choice cuts of meat. So it's like, even if you're stocked up, you might not have a perfect plan. And that's the point. There is no perfect plan. There is no amount of money that's going to get you to perfect, but you can be a few steps better than yesterday. When's the last time you were at the range? Having a guitar in your closet doesn't make you a musician any more than having a firearm inside your house somewhere unloaded is going to make you able to defend your house at a moment's notice. Sorry if that was too loud.
What do you say to someone like this? This poor guy. He's British. He can't have any guns. Well,
flee blue cities and flee blue states and flee
time
blue
to get out.
Britain has fallen. I'm telling you to leave. Saying this as a guy who lived in Los Angeles for 15 years.
Yeah, you did.
I had a love thing going on there, and I had to flee. The inmates were running the asylum. The crazy people, the violent people, the thieves, the criminals, the ones who wanted to take your stuff and harm you, the worst people on earth were being arrested and dumped right back onto the streets within 12 hours after attacking police with hammers, mind you. You must flee some of these places or stand and fight. You got to get out and let it collapse, or you got to stand up and be ready for what's about to happen. But I'll tell you what, I'm surrounded by a lot more decent people over here in my new location.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean decent like I was living around undecent people, but the bad element that was poisoning everything.
Well, when you're just around that many people, there's going to be, just by numbers alone, there's not good people with that. When you have just such a large mass of people in a small area.
And one of the best things you can do is filter the rainwater that comes off of your roof. So you cut your gutters at about this height and you pop this attachment on, and it takes the water into a rain barrel. You get a stand for the rain barrel. It's about this high, keeps it off the frost line, off the ground, and you fill it up and it runs all the water in. When you're trying to get the water and you're trying to make sense of this entire situation, I forget what the hell we were saying. I was trying to connect it out. What was the last thing you said?
I don't know how you got the rain barrels, but
the last thing you said was
I don't remember.
Oh, we're not playing Stump a Stoner right now. No, I was trying to make a connection right there. My brain went two different places at once. But the rain barrel. I know exactly where I'm going. Got it. Thank you, Brian. Gotcha. Okay, so when you get a rain barrel, I'm just telling you about the setup. It's easy to do for $200-300. You can have fresh water, and then you just have to filter it out of there. I recommend everyone do that.
Yeah.
But what the bad people in my neighborhood of Los Angeles were doing, they were opening up the filter that keeps the bugs and the leaves and twig debris out of the water supply. Take the little mesh screen off. These people were dropping cyanide into
what?
No, I'm saying figuratively. They were so bad. Everything around. There were a lot of great people around me.
I got you.
But
I thought you were saying they were literally doing that to your rain barrel. Like,
dude, I had a situation in my garden where somebody was watching me do laundry and he was ready to attack me. And I called him out, and then he grabbed the laundry line, swung it down, and stormed off. There was a meth head at the. Anyway, it got very uncomfortable and very violent there for a while. But the metaphor I'm making is, no matter how good your situation, it only takes a couple of people to poison what you got.
Exactly.
And so you got to watch the scenarios that you're in. And to your brother in England who's saying, I can't fight. You're like, yeah, you can. We fought England. It's not tough. It's not tough. They're just England. I know that's pretty smart ass to say, but literally and figuratively, flee blue cities and flee blue states and flee blue countries, or else stand up and be aware of the target on your t-shirt.
And not everyone can flee, and that's totally fine. I don't expect everyone to be able to flee where they are. People have roots, their families there. They don't want to flee.
They do.
Find yourself a community of people, like-minded individuals, and a way to communicate with them. So if the shit does hit the fan, you're able to have a network to plan with, to keep yourself and your family safe. So not everyone can flee, and that's fine. I'm in technically, I guess, a blue state, but outside of a city.
I don't believe Pennsylvania's blue. I don't believe that for a second.
It's not. It's two blue cities with Kentucky in the middle, essentially. So
I don't buy what happened in 2020. I think you are a red state. And after they came after Reagan, I think Mondale got 2 states. Maybe he got DC and Minnesota. The entire rest of the map went for Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying this kind of half joking for a while. Why aren't all 50 states going Trump? They should. They absolutely. There is literally no reason for Bag of Bones Biden to get a single vote. Just from Hawaii to Alaska, look at the energy policies of what Biden has done to screw Alaska, and look at what happened when the wildfires hit in Hawaii. From Alaska to Hawaii and everything on the mainland, it's Trump territory. And it's just a matter of what are they going to do with the next election? Is it going to be valid? Can we actually trust the results? Like you said earlier, how am I going to trust the investigation into the shooter and the lapses and what happened? If the CIA and the FBI are behind, if they're going to give me the report, well, I know where you can stick that Alan Dulles report. I know you can stick your 9/11 report. When
and if their rhetoric,
I'm not reading it, I'm not believing it for a second, because you're the ones that are trying to take him out. Because he's actually opposing your policies that make no sense. They're bankrupting our country and they're lowering our standard of living. So yeah, I'm against it. This deep state thing needs to be ripped up by the root. And I mean all of it. I don't know if we have it in us, but my God, like there is nowhere else for good people to peacefully back into a corner. You just shot at the guy's skull and you accidentally missed him. You didn't intentionally miss him. You accidentally didn't dome him like JFK. So if we're not taking this seriously, I don't know where people are at with their headspace. It could not be any more serious and dire and time sensitive that we level up our preparedness skills right now and try to find some sort of peace and ask for discernment, wisdom, and the protection of divine providence, John.
And to take this full circle from what we talked about at the beginning, what you talked about first was we were this close to having a totally different conversation. Thankfully, we're not having that conversation today. We're not in that messy place that would have become very quickly. I'm convinced of if that had happened.
And
yesterday.
What comes next?
So,
can we just ask what a super important thing? And this has me on edge, on the verge of going to Milwaukee for the convention now. You know, having been to the Bronx, DC, now I'm headed to this. I'm definitely on edge, as you would imagine, because now this is the dirty bomb mecca. You think a shot was something? You don't think they're going to try a drone attack, a dirty bomb, one of those suitcase nukes we've heard about our whole lives? Like, why am I walking into the middle of this potential powder keg, knowing that the Secret Service is fucking inept? Sorry, I don't know if you swear on this show or not, but holy shit.
We're an hour and 17 minutes in, so you can do whatever you want at this point.
But going into this place now, knowing that everything is just up in the air, it's a little disconcerting, but it leads me to the question, John. I don't want to think about it, and I didn't quite finish that train of thought, but I don't want to give it too much energy. But if Trump left, who carries the torch? So who is the staff? Who is on the team? Who's the VP? Who are the 40 people that he could name and say, if anything were ever to happen to me, these are my people, and you need to vote them to the next spot and push this. Whoever carries this agenda has my eternal support. And these people have pledged that they're going to follow these policy lines. I want to see a coalition linked arm in arm, saying these people buy the policies. It's not about me, Trump. It's about the bullet points on. Geez, that's a fun phrase. Bullet
the thing
points.
is, though, with Trump, that's one of his downsides is he doesn't have like. He's not a principled, like, this is my policies laid out. This is what I'm going to do. He does to a certain extent on some things, you know, the border, lowering taxes, getting out of Ukraine, things like that, which those are all great. But a lot of stuff, he just goes by the feel of it. And that's good and bad to a certain extent. Can be very bad depending on, you know, who he's getting information from, who's influencing him, persuading him to make a certain decision, which happened a lot in his first term, unfortunately, when he made Fauci king. That was bad. So you want him to surround himself with people who are going to be helping him to more conservative, libertarian policy points, like Vivek Ramaswamy, people like that. I don't know if that'll be the case at all. But I've heard people float, like, for the VP, he should put someone in there who is so hated by the left that they're even less likely to want to assassinate Trump because they don't want to put that person in power. Which that's an idea. Or you just or you make Don Jr. your VP. So
I've heard Trump again. I've heard it if they hate the guy from Ohio, JD Vance, that he's just a younger Trump, and that's good assassination insurance. I've definitely heard that. I don't know who it's going to be, but last week on the show with Blake Wally on the Agree to Disagree show, we covered all of a sudden all the Democrats, all the deep state traders, they want to talk about Project 25. Look at Trump's Project 25. It's like, what about this thing that wasn't written by Trump? Do you want to talk about Agenda 47? Because Agenda 47 kicks ass. I've seen the clips. I've sat and watched it. We pulled up the website, and if you go to DonaldJTrump.com, I don't know. Go to Trump's website. Agenda 47. They're like 2-3 minute videos. He lays out his entire party platform. And for the convention, they have reorganized and changed. They've softened language on abortion. They've changed this and that. But like Trump has the platform now defined under the Agenda 47 terms. And those are very crystal clear. They're not wishy-washy. They're not toss a couple feathers in the sky to see where the wind's blowing.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Agenda 47, kind of a play on Agenda 2020, the Rosa Corey book, and Agenda 2030, where they want you to own nothing and eat bugs while we assassinate your leaders. So I think he is a little bit more principled and at least a little bit more clear this second time around. But my God, John, think of all the rhinos and the deep state traders, the Cheneys, the Kinsingers, the people that are gone, evicted from Congress right now and replaced with MAGA. He might actually have a decent support staff around him, but it might have taken 8 years to get there.
Yeah.
He had the Congress, but it wasn't the right Congress, so they didn't do anything. I mean, if he gets the chance, if he can just survive, we're at that point. If he can just survive to win the election and take over in January, I think he's got a good shot to turn a lot of this stuff around. But there's got to be justice for the people who have gone way too far in the name of political power here. It's one thing to push a policy and paint your candidate as a doofus and, oh, look at it, you spin some stuff out of context and okay. But like, not calling Nazis fine people, not saying he's destroying our democracy, not all of this crap. Like, this is, oh my gosh, you ever play that game? If you were alive in the 1930s, would you take out Hitler? If you had a gun, would you shoot him? Right before he took power, to save all of the potential damage, would you shoot him?
Yeah,
and it's that moral conundrum.
Yeah.
And so this shrieking lunatic, this 20-year-old nutbag, he took his shot because he's thinking you got a monster over there. And it's like, I don't know. He just kind of wants to drill for energy and secure the check IDs. He wants a bouncer at the door of the nightclub. If you're too drunk to enter, stay out. You know, you got the face tattoos and a criminal rap sheet. I don't need you here. Oh, you've raped people. You can go do that in Honduras. You're not welcome here, buddy. This is not a monster.
Non-citizens
shouldn't
vote.
Policy.
Maybe non-citizens shouldn't vote. I don't know. That's just an idea. But
Call
Brian,
us crazy.
We're way over time, but I love it. Fantastic. I'm happy that we went over time, but I do have to go. Got to eat dinner, and I'm sure you got things you got to do too as well. But before you do go, need you to plug New American Media. Anything else you're working on? Anything else you got happening?
Thank you, John. And this is fun. Can we do this again sometime? And I need to have you back
we'll
on
do it again. We'll do it again before the election. I'll come on your show. You'll come back on my show. Yeah, we'll do it up.
Deal. Thank you. I did have a good chat, and yes, I feel like we scratched the surface here. We are so far out of our depth in the don't say crazy stuff for 72 hours thing, but we're living through history, and we need to document this and get it out everywhere that we can. And just trying to put my perspective on the news is why I started the New American Media more than 13 years ago. There's a few places where you can check it out, and I'll rattle them off real quick. The newamericanmedia.com is the flagship. On the right-hand side, you have our Facebook page. You can find it there. Also, all the Facebook groups. TNAM Grow Something, TNAM Preparedness, TNAM Humor, TNAM Food and Drink. We got all these different, did I say that twice? We have all these different groups. Search TNAM for The New American Media on Facebook and just find the groups. A question will say, how'd you find us? Just say, Brian invited me. YouTube, we have about 1,500 videos, millions of views over there, including, a conversation with John McAfee that got 130,000 views in about 3 hours before the CIA zapped it in conjunction with YouTube. And then we got shadow banned, demonetized, and all the rest. But we still have 1,500 videos on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@thenewamericanmedia. All those videos also, they're duplicated onto Odyssey. Whatever YouTube takes down, because they took another video down today from last October. And they've taken 5 other videos down over the past year from years ago. So regardless, everything we put on YouTube is also on Odyssey, ODYSEE.com. it mirrors it. So our content will live on Odyssey at the New American Media. On X, we're the new at American_media_. Telegram, TNAM, and TNAM chat. Truth Social, we are the New American Media. On Rumble, please subscribe. We need more Rumble support. The New American Media on Rumble, and the podcast. What is a podcast? That's over on Spotify, the Agree to Disagree show. And of course, if you would like to contribute to independent journalism to help fund trips to Milwaukee. Wow, I didn't know Milwaukee had $300 hotel rooms. Oh, they do. If you'd like to help offset some of the costs of being an independent journalist, you can go on patreon.com/the New American Media and become a subscriber. $5 a month, $15 a month, $100 a month, $1,000 a month, whatever you'd like to do. It's all appreciated. But yeah, sign up with us in all the places because they're going to zap us here. They're going to zap us there. I will deliver the news by pigeon if I must. I'll do smoke signals. I'll rearrange rocks on an island. I don't give a shit. I'm going to try to unpack what's happening. We're going to see it together. We're going to later learn that video was doctored. And I don't know, that tweet, I thought it was legit. Fine. We're unpacking it together honestly with the understanding that some of the things might not be what they appear to be at first glance. Fine. That's what it means to be a savvy connoisseur of media in 2024. And we did the New American Media because the old American media failed you. And they failed the nutbag that warped his brain long enough to make him do what he did yesterday. So follow us, the Agree to Disagree show in the New American Media, if you could. We'd greatly appreciate it. And yeah, best to you and your family and everybody in Pennsylvania. I'm so sorry. Like that's like a stain on, like you never shake that off.
Yeah,
John. Like that's always going to, you didn't do it. Your neighbors did, but like it's always going to be like that plane that came down in the field in Pennsylvania. Like you guys have been marked with weird tragedies, and I'm sorry that happened so close to you. And I'm glad to have this time today to just talk. This is therapy. This is why we do it. It's like sometimes I don't know what I'm thinking until I say it. So thank you for that.
It really is therapy. And I just want to thank you for coming on the show and being so open to talk about this as we are processing it. And, you've been doing this for a longer time than I have. I mean, talking on the internet to people who were listening. We don't do this to get rich. I don't know if listeners know that we're not, filthy rich here because of doing this. We do this as much for, at least speaking for myself, to process things, to try to work through it, especially in times like this. Like the last 24 hours after I heard about this, it's been just really trying to figure out, how do I feel about this? What is happening in this country? What could happen? Start thinking about my family, my daughter. What kind of world is playing out here? Where are we going to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? So anyway, we got to end the show at some point. Brian.
Yeah.
One more thing.
I shed tears onto my black electric cooktop, my 4-panel, like my stove. I was watching that video we played and just the gravity of what happened and how close, and his instinct to just fight. If those were his last words, and he was actually mortally shot and he'd just bleed out later, his last words were fight. So maybe look in the mirror and see what you're willing. Can you step your game up? Can you do a little bit more? And I think every one of us can. And let's just take that energy and let's just be so grateful that we weren't having a drastically different conversation today, John.
Brian Engelman, thanks again as always. All right, guys, that is a wrap for today's show. Thank you for watching. If you watched on YouTube or Rumble or Twitter, that's awesome. Hopefully you retweeted it and shared it with a friend. If you're listening to the podcast version, thank you for listening. And please subscribe to the channel that you're listening on. If it's Alliance of Liberty Network, that's going to have my show and Brian's show. Fantastic. If it's just mine, if it's just the Finding Freedom solo feed, thank you for that as well. As always, you can leave a 5-star rating and a review. Very much appreciated. Helps us out with all of the algorithms and all of that stuff. But like we talked about there at the end, these are wild and crazy times. And as I was processing this yesterday, trying to explain to my daughter that someone tried to shoot and kill President Trump, it's just a weird thing to try to communicate to a child. Just really how bizarre and insane this world has become, but yet to convey that things are going to be okay. to be optimistic, because I am optimistic about the future of this world, of this country, of everything we have here. So I'll leave you guys with that. I'll be back next week with another episode. In the meantime, always remember to keep your head up and the fires of liberty burning.